Kunzang Palyul Chöling. It's a Buddhist temple in the Tibetan tradition that is located in Poolesville, Maryland, a beautiful suburb outside of Washington, D.C. It has been here for 30 years.
Something that I find special about KPC is the fact that we're open 24 hours a day. And I find that that's really rare. There's, you can go and find a place of refuge on a Sunday anywhere. There's plenty of churches with their doors open. But it's really rare to have somewhere to go when you're in need at 2 a.m.
KPC's stated mission is to alleviate suffering in all of its forms. So that's a very vast, mission.
The best way to engage spiritually is through activity, through moving outside of ourselves. By engaging in activity and constantly pushing ourselves to do more for others, we really drive home what compassion means.
Even if we ourselves as individuals don't feel that we're always being as compassionate as we can be, it's what we strive to do. We strive to be as compassionate as we can. We strive to live a compassionate life.
These are people sufficiently grounded in prayer and meditation.
Our teacher, Jetsama Lamo, founded KPC. She founded it with an open heart.
KPC's spiritual leader is Jetsama Lamu Rinpoche. She started teaching in 1982. She was recognized by His Holiness Pena Rinpoche as a reincarnate Lama.
I heard Jetsama teach over 30 years ago, and her main teachings were about compassion and equanimity.
Instead of merely meditating and praying for the theoretical idea of suffering, her approach is to actually hands-on go out into the world and create organizations or projects that work against that suffering.
We have a very unusual rescue here for exotic companion parrots. Started with one parrot, and now we have up to 50 parrots. And it's a lifelong rescue where once they come here, they're here for the rest of their lives.
Garuda Aviary continues to take in birds who are at the end of the rope. We get 1 or 2 calls every week from people wanting us to just take their birds. Parrots are very difficult to care for. Most people aren't aware of that when they purchase a parrot. It may only be a few years that they'll spend in each home before the owner realizes that this was just too much for them to handle. This happens far more than anybody would realize. We have visitors come down to the aviary and see the birds when the weather's nice, and I explain to them the greater unwanted parrot problem. Everybody's generally pretty stunned.
I think it's just seeing what's going on out there. I found out recently that 1 out of every 8 people in the state of Maryland is hungry during the day. And we're one of the richest states in the country. I just couldn't believe it. So we started making hot soups and hot coffee and stews and driving them downtown and giving them to the street people. I actually figured out the other day that we've made 9,000 to 10,000 lunches over the last 2.5 years.
Then we have a prison program that was started, I believe, around 1987 or 88. It's been going on for a very long time.
Prison is really an awful place. And I've seen men just do a 180. Nobody ever told them there was a benefit to being kind to somebody else. They were always trying to get over or get something. And all of a sudden somebody said, if you give something to somebody, it's going to change you. It's going to make you happy. And then they discover, wow, that's really true. It's an amazing thing to see.
One of the things that KPC is the most proud of, and proud's a funny word, I'm perhaps most grateful for, is being able to stay open and provide 30 years of unlimited access to the community that it exists in and to the community internationally, where people have been able to come 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, to participate in a prayer vigil that's remained uninterrupted since this temple was founded 30 years ago.
I'd venture to say hundreds of thousands have requested prayers. And we read those names out loud.
Getting people in there for 2-hour shifts around the clock for 30 years is an accomplishment.
Something that really amazes me about KPC is that I think most of the people who make use of KPC aren't Buddhist. A lot of times people don't know us by our name. They know us as the Buddhist Temple on River Road. And if they don't know the Buddhist Temple on River Road, they know the Peace Park. And it's a place that people go to walk their dogs, to look at birds, to just have quiet, or to, so many people have told me that, when I'm really angry, I always drive out to that park on River Road. And that's where I always go to just find peace in myself.
I would come out here on Sundays and not even go to a practice or a teaching, just be in this land that was sacred space. And that continues to be true. The Stupas, with their just amazing pulsations of spiritual energy and goodness, just call to me.
A stupa, it's one of the fancy words, but in Buddhism it's a sacred monument, would be a really easy way of remembering it. A sacred structure. In Buddhism, it's considered to be the embodiment of the mind of enlightenment, literally.
Stupa is so many things put together, and in a way, they're everything. The way I would describe it, it's like it's a wish-fulfilling jewel, and it's the embodiment of the Buddha.
And the reason it's built the way that it's built is it functions as an antidote for the imbalances of the world. It functions as an antidote for the suffering of the world. All kinds of sufferings.
KPC is a place that's dedicated to kindness, that's dedicated to love.
KPC is for people who have physical difficulties, mental difficulties, spiritual crises, anything like that. That's why we're here. That's why we're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
If you really need to pray, if you really are in a situation where you're in crisis and you just need comfort, that this is a place that you can come to get those needs met, and you'll be safe and protected here.
A community that's as grounded in prayer and meditation as this community is, consciously, unconsciously, have something very precious to share with others.
Be exactly who you are, whatever that is, whatever color you are, whatever walk of life you represent to yourself. There is this place where you can experience true compassion and learn how to start walking in that.
A person can relax and go in and kind of contemplate the important things in their lives, whatever that is. If people are interested in a Buddhist kind of response to that, we can help them in that way as well. If not, totally fine.
We do not proselytize. You come in with what you believe, and you can walk out with what you believe.
Everyone is welcome here. More or less, we always feel very comfortable here. And I've seen a variety of people, who have passed by here, who have come here, and they're all very happy coming out of here.
I guess sometimes I think of it as a refuge from the outside world. When I come here, I think by the time, if you were to check vital signs coming in and leaving, they're significantly reduced.
There is a movement of compassion in the world, and KPC is kind of a quiet voice in that.
There's a sensitivity to our environment, to nature, that's trying to be kind to the earth, and a lot of it starts right here.